Jerry Jones says Brian Schottenheimer dropped the first name and has become the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. He was not a heralded candidate. He was not a household name for what he has done before in the league, more so what his family has done. But now Brian Schottenheimer has one of the top 3 coveted jobs in all of sports.
Yeah, that brand, that exposure, yeah. You've got the bright lights on you.
Yeah, I like that. I'm happy for him. And for him, for his sake, I hope he's successful. I hope that team proves him right. But what I can tell you based on everything I've seen from the Cowboys over the past couple of decades, based on specifically what it's looked like over the past 4 or 5 years, there's one deterrent to their success that I don't believe is ever going to wither. It's only going to continue to get stronger and stronger as he continues to try to prove himself right. And that's the man sitting right up there next to him at the introductory press conference, Jerry Jones. You know what's funny about him having an introductory press conference, Brian Schottenheimer? For some reason, no matter where you turn, including today on this programming, I don't hear from Brian Schottenheimer.
Yeah, and all the clips are not of him.
Nothing. I still don't even know what the dude talks like. If you told me
we're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this.
If you told me that was Brian Schottenheimer, I would have to agree with you. Except I know that was Aaron Glenn from the Jets press conference, because guess who's not speaking the whole damn time?
Brian Schottenheimer.
Brian Schottenheimer. So, because all the Cowboys fed us was Jerry Jones quotes, let's get to the crux of the issue here, because, again, our guy Noah Carbone, he is an Eagles fan. All right, he's stuck with us here on Theoretically Speaking. This same ailment that is hurting the Cowboys right now, a 3-letter word, ego, is the same thing that could creep in and infiltrate what the Eagles have going on right now between that head coach, between that wide receiver, and especially the quarterback with all the diamonds on his chains, Jalen Hurts. Ego is the issue for the Cowboys. And that is what is striking Jerry Jones specifically right now and getting in his way of being a competent franchise. Take a listen to Jerry Jones it feels like he's hedging his bets here, because he knows the hire he made is not one that would be applauded or celebrated, but he almost wants to let us know that he also is aware that this is a risky hire. Take a listen to him.
Now, I get my proverbial ass kicked over needing people in my comfort zone. Without this thing being about me in any way.
Oh no.
If you don't think I can't operate out of my comfort zone, you're so wrong. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so it's back about him.
This is as big a risk as you could take. As big a risk as you could take. No head coaching experience.
All right.
That is...
That's a crazy thing to say about a guy right next to you.
That's like him saying, without making this about myself at all, and then making this about yourself. That's like saying, no offense, but you are ugly. Just by prefacing it by the impact of what I'm about to say is not intended that way. Well, it is, so too bad.
To be honest with you, it makes it even worse, right? Because he's saying that the hire he's making is a risk, and he's also in that same breath saying it has nothing to do with me. So what is he really telling us? He's telling us that this candidate that he's selecting, that is sitting right next to him, that he's supposed to be selling to his fan base and selling to the national media and selling to his own locker room, he's saying, I've done my job properly and correctly. I have been the most risk-adverse person. That's what he said earlier in the press conference. I never take risk, only the last 5 years. This dude right next to me with no experience is so damn risky, though, that I have to make sure I express that to y'all before he goes out here and wins 7 football games. That's what it feels like to me. This has nothing to do with Jerry Jones. It has everything to do with Brian Schottenheimer. That dude's a risk. How is that possibly instilling confidence? Or even if you were trying to go on the other side of the foot and say he's trying to challenge him to get the best out of him, how is that possibly productive? There's nothing good that comes from this. The Cowboys, the clown show that is the Cowboys and it has been for the past 20 years is only being perpetuated and hurt and driven in by one man, and that's Jerry Jones. And I was hoping he would finally take a step back and just get out of the way for a second. But then the introductory press, I thought that's what the Schottenheimer hire was. I'm like, okay, cool. He didn't go for the splash hire. He didn't go get Dion. He didn't keep the circus going. He went and got Schottenheimer. He's taking a bit of a chance on the guy. Sure, we all knew that. But for him to sit next to the dude and tell us that, I just don't get how that's productive.
Exactly. And it wasn't making it about himself until he opened his mouth, which we knew was going to happen. It's Jerry Jones, it's the Cowboys, the press conference with him. We know we were going to get sound bites out of this no matter what, and we knew who they were going to come from. And like you said, Schottenheimer isn't the big name, isn't the big splash.
Yeah.
So he immediately tried to make it one by saying, just so everybody knows, biggest risk ever. You got your headline right here.
Who is he covering right there? Because one could argue, Noah says in the Prize Picks chat here on YouTube, one could argue him prefacing his career by saying this is the biggest risk ever, it does lower the bar for where we expect Brian Schottenheimer to clear. But also, I can't tell if Jerry Jones is doing this to help Schottenheimer or to help himself in case this fails. Because it really protects both of them if you think about it.
Well, if I think about it, you don't blame the crappy tools the person bought. You blame the person who bought the crappy tools.
Right.
So, like, Jerry, this feels like more reason to blame Jerry if things go wrong. Like, why did you take this risk if you knew how low the floor was?
That's a good point. But we do know that when things go wrong with the Cowboys, Jerry Jones never finds himself culpable. There's a reason why he's still calling the shots, even though the shots keep on firing off the edge of the backboard. I don't understand it. But he's in charge. He owns the team. That's the blessing and the curse of your general manager, quote unquote, also owning the team is one band, one sound. But what if the sound sucks?
Yeah.
That's the problem with the Cowboys is like they have the continuity from top down, but he's not as good. He's not as sharp. Can we play? Jordan Schultz tweeted out a clip from Jerry Jones's presser. I just sent it over to you. You probably haven't seen it. Can you play this part? Because this is what I mean by more so. Even if Jerry Jones was elite at this, as he keeps reminding us, the biggest risk he ever took in his life was buying the Dallas Cowboys. And he is fortified in all of his decisions going forward because he took that risk and he was right. So, of course, that's where the ego builds up. The ego builds up, and now the pride comes before the fall because this guy is so full of himself because of that one purchase and a couple of smart moves that led to championships that now he is using that stuff that happened decades ago to remind us and also to give him himself a coat for the things he's doing today. So listen to him now because you might have been smart. You might have had your wits back then, but Jerry Jones, you're a little longer in the tooth now, and you're starting to sound like it.
So I've seen it when I was a pup.
Hello?
I have a good background in the makeup of what a coach is. To think that you could make a decision in an interview and not have talked, if you didn't and hadn't ever communicated or had a visit.
What?
I wouldn't dare have had an interview unless I talked to many, many people.
Yeah. That's the leader of the Cowboys. Yeah, when you were a pup, you might have been great at these things. You might not have your fastball anymore, Jerry.
Your faculty's about you.
It's not happening.
We're seeing deterioration in live action, and it's kind of damaging.
And it's not even he's 82. He's 82 years old.